Welcome back to I Did This Instead of Killing Myself, a stand-up comedy and lifestyle podcast based in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm your host, David Bakker. It is the week of November 21st, 2021, Thanksgiving week. And I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. I'm recording this on a Sunday, so I'm actually disappointed right now. The Packers just lost to the Vikings. It sucks to lose to the Vikings because their fan base is really annoying. But it's November. It's not January. So we'll get the ship righted. Thanksgiving. So we do have a podcast episode this week, and we do have a good week of comedy, although it is a little bit abbreviated. But before we get into the guest or this week's comedy, I wanted to say thank you guys, whoever's listening. And seriously, there are people listening. So I was actually going to give an update on the numbers of the show, just so if anybody cares, if you have been listening and wondering if you're the only one, you're not. We just passed 1,300 total plays on the FM or the audio only platforms like Spotify, Apple, whatever else. So any given week, there's an average of about 30 people listening on there. So really excited about that. And on YouTube, we just passed 2,900 total plays. So if you watch on YouTube, looks like there's an average of about 97 watchers per week on YouTube. So thank you guys, all of you guys who have ever downloaded this. I'm always surprised, and the guests too, for coming on. I do have something coming out. We do have t-shirts that you can't buy them yet, but I'm going to give, if you've been on the episode, I'm going to give you guys a free t-shirt. It has a little microphone on it, and it has the podcast logo on the back. I have one of them, and I just ordered some. So if you ever were a guest on the show, hit me up. I will get you one. I am really excited. Also, one more announcement about the podcast. I'm super excited. Spotify just approved our show to have video. So if you watch on Spotify, the full YouTube video will actually be on the Spotify app too. So if you want to watch on Spotify, I'm in the process of updating all the old episodes. So any old episode has video on it as well. So don't crash your car while you're driving, but yeah. So thank you guys. Very excited, and we're gonna still do it. This is so fun, and it's a little rinky-dink podcast, but I think the stories that you hear on here from our guests are always interesting. So, and speaking of that, we have a fantastic guest today. Our guest today is T.Link, aka Travis Lincoln. You should remember him by T.Link, though. I think that's what he prefers. Or maybe he does prefer Travis Link. I just looked at his Facebook. It's Travis T.Link Lincoln. I love T.Link. T.Link is another one of our friends from Columbia, and he has been an entertainer for a long time. He's been a DJ, and he still does DJ. He does music. He can sing. He's been involved in his local church all growing up. And only recently has he been doing stand-up. But he is already had a ton of success in stand-up in the short time he's been doing it since really the pandemic and early last year. And he's already joined with Michael Garrick, Mr. Nettles, and Michael Mack. I want to get those names right, but he's part of the Certified Comics group, and they're already starting to tour. So really impressed by T.Link, how much he's gotten after it, and really just a great guy to know and to get to see. So our conversation today, it spanned everything, as it usually does, and you get to know kind of T.Link's background, some of the personal causes that he helps with, including housing homeless veterans. So yeah, he's a passionate guy. A lot of times, whatever he's involved with has a cause behind it. So not only is he going to make you laugh and entertain you, but he's also after a good cause. So I hope you enjoy our conversation. Before that, though, I'll get to this week in local comedy, the week of Thanksgiving 2021. Lots to be thankful for. So to start, we have Coffee Underground, our open mic here downtown Greenville. That starts at 7 o'clock, hosted by No Expectations Comedy, either Craig Holcomb or Travis Thubbin. Immediately following that, all jokes aside, at Habiba's Mediterranean Restaurant, Dante Anderson is the host there. Come on out and support there. No mic on Tuesday this week. Normally we have Electric City Comedy, but hosted by Robin Scott, but that's actually taking a temporary hiatus, probably until the new year. So nothing on Tuesday. We may have something coming soon on that, but nothing yet. Wednesday at the Radio Room. It is on as scheduled. Adam Schulte will be there. I know it's the night before Thanksgiving, but we're going to do some damn comedy. So come on out, 8 o'clock. Hang out, tell some jokes. I'll be there. And then this Thursday is Thanksgiving, so we don't have the Jokes Out Loud show at the Comedy Zone in Greenville. Enjoy time with your family. If you're in town in Greenville, though, there is a show that, Friday and Saturday. Monty Allen is in town. I don't know Monty, but he looks hilarious. There's one show on Saturday at 8 at the Comedy Zone. And then there's 2 shows on Saturday, one at 6 and one at 9. Doors open an hour before showtime. Get tickets at greenvillecomedyzone.com. They're $15 a piece. All right, that's it for local comedy. I hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving. And again, thank you for whoever is listening and continuing to listen. Seriously, it means a lot to me and to the comics and everything. And if you have any suggestions about what you'd like us to do with it going forward, or things you like, things you hate, whatever, just let me know. It's not hard to DM. I'll respond to whatever. All right. Thanks so much. Here's the interview with T.Link. Okay, T.Link.
What's up, man?
It's about time.
I know, man. It's a long time coming.
I'm happy to have you.
I'm glad to be here, man.
So, T.Link, when Robert Taylor came here yesterday, he reminded me of the first time I met you, which was at R&B's.
Oh, yeah. Bar and
the
Grill.
mic. Yeah, R&B. Yeah. I think that was you had just started running that open mic, right?
Yep.
And
I probably was only about 2 weeks into it when you came.
2 weeks into comedy.
Or 2 weeks into running that.
Running that mic?
Yeah, running that mic, yeah.
Yeah, and we both reminisce about that show, because I remember the first time I saw you do stand-up, you had like a Microsoft Word document of like all your material written out, and we're reading from that. Yeah. And if I compare that night to when I saw you last week at the Comedy House, pretty incredible.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like that specific show came at a rough time in history, because we had a lot of we had the police shootings, and and George Floyd had just passed not too long before that, and so I think we were on the young man, that Jeff Blake, I think the guy that got shot in the back, and so that's where that information came from. So I actually wanted to take some time and kind of bring spotlight to that situation, and I was trying to make it funny, but it just wasn't. So yeah, somebody was like, "Where's the jokes?" And I was like, "Damn, it was that bad." Because I videoed the set, but I actually still did the set when I went to the Comedy Zone. Yeah, I did, but I did all the jokes instead of the other commentary, and it went well. Right? But that was terrible. If you judge me based on that day. And
well, I mean, it wasn't judgment one way or the other. I was just meeting you, but yeah, I guess you tackled a serious topic. It was similar to Dave Chappelle did the same thing.
Remember, I did it before he did.
You did before. Okay, so T.Link.
Yes, I did it before Dave got his. Did his
so Chappelle's a hack that ripped off T.Link.
He saw my special.
Right, exactly, and then he came out with, I forget what he called it. Yeah, it was 8 minutes something. It was the same amount of time.
Yeah. But I did 5 minutes before Dave Chappelle did it. And then he decided to do it. And then Cat Williams jumped on and piggybacked off of it too.
Yeah. What a year, dude. That was a crazy year. Obviously everybody, thinks of 2020 as a crazy year. but it still is surreal to me how much has changed.
Mm-hmm.
I was only doing stand up for about a month when I came to R&B's that time.
Great.
So I think it was maybe around August or something. And
somewhere around that
we had the election going on.
Mm-hmm.
We had all the racial stuff going on. And we were doing comedy. And you started comedy last year, right?
Yeah, I started January 6th of last year.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted
So the Capitol riots were on the 1 year anniversary.
Literally
you started comedy?
the day of.
Yeah.
I think it was the day of.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. And no, the Capitol riots was this year.
Right. It was 1 year after you had started comedy. So you're celebrating your 1 year anniversary while people are still.
Yeah. So of course I had plenty jokes with that, but
maybe you're like, your comedy career has it's a magnet for big watershed political events.
Yeah, most of my comedy initially was mainly political.
That's right.
The very first set that I did was all political. And I remember people telling me, "Don't do that again. Like, don't talk about politics." And I'm like, "Well, I'm old, so that's what I listen to. That's what I'm into.
Sure.
So I'm not gonna not do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can not do it." And most of my people that I look up to, they talk about politics. So
sure.
It's kind of like in my DNA. So, but yeah, I mean, I could say that I've had a lot of things happen these last 2 years, a year and a half, almost 2 years now, that definitely give me a lot of material to talk about politics.
Yeah.
Especially Trump. Like, that's my boy. Would never vote for him, but he's my boy. Like, he never let me down.
Trump is funny.
Yes, he is.
He's funny on both sides. I think people that like him find him funny in an endearing way. People that don't like him find him funny in a buffoonish kind of way.
Yeah.
But what a time to be alive for comedians to be able to. Because it's funny, like compared to, George Bush was always the guy that people would poke fun at for his gaffes and things. Clinton, you could kind of make fun of for, his womanizing and stuff.
Yeah.
But by comparison, Trump.
You can't beat Trump.
Exceeded all of it in terms of, he almost
I don't
was
even
a
watch
parody
the
of
news
himself.
anymore.
Yeah.
What for? There's no Trump. Like, I don't have anything that I can.
Do you miss him a little bit?
I miss him.
In terms of the content?
Listen, because even though I didn't agree with half of what he said, I love to be entertained.
Sure.
And he did that.
Sure.
For whatever reason, I got enjoyment out of what crazy thing he said today. Like, that was my thing with Trump. So
yeah,
it's one of those things that I didn't want him to go away for that reason. But it was.
Did you dress up as Trump at any point
did.
on stage? I remember
did.
this.
Halloween of last year.
That's right.
Yeah, and I did the voice and everything.
Yeah, because I still have. Yeah, that's totally right. Because I had a
we
picture.
Took a picture with you. Yeah.
Yeah, because Sauce was in that. He had a costume where he was
something where it was weird.
Yeah, he had one of those ones where you it's like the pants are like another guy. So it looks like he's riding on the shoulders of like a dwarf or something.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
I had nothing. I just had a fake mustache that I went and got at the Halloween store. And you
had the blonde wig.
Dude, the blonde wig, man.
Yeah, I did my whole Trump bid and everything.
Yeah. I really like your Barack Obama impression too.
Oh, thanks. Can
you do it on here?
Yeah. Of course I can. It's an honor, a privilege to be here. Just chilling with Dave,
I wish I could do some impressions.
I that's what I started out doing more of. Like, my first set was mostly impressions. So I do a lot of impressions. I just gravitated towards writing more because I didn't want that to be my Achilles heel.
Sure.
So
because even an impression, you still
got to make
an impression could be funny, but you probably should have some jokes of what to say.
Exactly. Like, I want to do my Trump stuff. Like, I used to do things that were seemingly divisive, and I learned to skate in the middle.
Yeah.
Because it's funnier in the middle and everybody doesn't feel alienated. So I bring out all the things I like about Trump. Like, I was like, he's a man of his word. Like, when he says something, he actually believes it. So you have to believe it too.
Right.
And he's like, I don't care about impeachment. I really don't care. You can impeach me all you want, but I don't like peaches. So that's always something you just find the humor in what he does.
Yeah.
It's exploit it, man.
Yeah, because I lean right politically when it comes to policy and things, but I try to when it comes to political humor, I do miss a little bit of the days when all sides got made fun of and nobody really took it personally.
Yeah, I vote Democratic. I lean probably more right to certain topics,
like fiscal topics.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't think anybody likes taxes.
Well,
right,
yeah.
Be a little lower on the taxes.
Yeah, I think that I'm more of, if I like you, I'll vote for you. Mm-hmm. So I try not to put myself into a party per se. And I think just as an African American, it's a little, different because you're expected to just give your vote to a Democrat.
Sure.
And I'm very reluctant to just do that.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of assholes that are Democrats, period. So it doesn't matter what color you are. So it's just I'm like, nah. And I have friends that are Republicans that are white that are fine. Like I'm perfectly more comfortable with them being, and I grew up in a different environment. I can say that, Summerville, South Carolina is not the most African American populated place in America, but so I have different views based on my life experience. But yeah, I don't lean one way or the other. But if I had to say I lean more towards topics that would affect me in, a more Republican sense, more so than a liberal sense. I'm pretty old school.
Yeah.
With things like that.
For sure. Politics just, it exhausts me. Yeah, I found I was more interested in it when I was younger. Not that I'm that old now. I feel like I'm getting old.
Man, they remind me of how old I am all the time. So
who does?
Michael and mostly Michael. Like he has an old joke at least once a month, like at least once.
Michael does?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, which is surprising to me because I always give Michael crap for being too nice.
Yeah. Oh no,
I'm looking forward to him continuing to get more edgy.
He's a lot more edgy than you think. Like his stage presence is definitely not as edgy, but he's getting there.
Right,
he's utilizing that skill set more. But yeah,
he's great as is, like super likable and hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the first things he told me. I mean, being that he's been doing it longer than me, I consider him somewhat of a mentor.
Sure.
In that regard, and so he'll say, "Hey, be likable. Like you're a likable guy, stay likable."
Yeah.
When you talk about politics, you're not always going to be likable. And so, I push the envelope sometimes with my Lindsey Graham jokes and things like that.
Yeah, he's funny to make fun of, though.
Yeah, it's easy to make fun of him. But, I do it because I think it's hilarious regardless of what side you're on.
Sure.
But he's just like, but bookers might like him, so you don't do that. And I was like, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't done too many political jokes. But yeah, the likability thing I do wrestle with a lot because I do try to be edgy.
But you're edgy and likable though.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you pull it off, man. You pull it off really well.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't. When I don't some places I feel like aren't gonna like you no matter what.
You gotta believe it.
Like though. Art Bar.
Yeah, that's a tough crowd.
I struggle with that. I feel like because they don't know me, and I don't know. Do you do well at Art Bar? I feel like you do.
I do sometimes. I'll put it this way, that they have a select group of comics that they root for. So it's a little difficult to get their attention, but once you get it, you got it. But it's an eclectic crowd, so you never know who's coming in. And so one crowd could be totally different from the next. So you might kill one night and come back and not get any laughs. Yeah. I've been there recently where I didn't get many laughs at all.
Okay.
So but I didn't consider it bombing because I got facial expressions.
Okay.
And so Art Bar is one of those places where you can't always judge by your the amount of laughs you get. Look at people's facial expressions.
Sure.
People were smiling and engaged in what I had to say, and when I was done, even though I didn't get many laughs, my audio pretty much made me was like, damn, nobody laughed. But when I got off stage, a lot of people came to me. I wouldn't say a lot, but 3 or 4 people came to me and said, yo, that was an awesome set.
Right.
I was like, well, motherfucker, you didn't laugh. Why don't you laugh, man? What the hell
we're
is wrong
here,
with you?
right?
So I don't judge how well I do by the amount of laughs that I get at that particular venue.
Sure.
Because they are there to see a select group of comics who come there pretty regularly.
And no disrespect to Art Bar at all. I actually love
all.
going to that room.
Yeah.
I like changing it up because part of what I found here in Greenville is like I love our group here and like the people, and I hope it doesn't come across like cliquey or anything because we're pretty tight. But when you perform at small mics where you're known and people like each other, like
they tend to laugh more.
Stuff will work, and then you take it somewhere else. So Art Bar is a great place to test things. Like if you get reactions there and they don't know you as much, you're not.
It's a very liberal crowd, and so
liberal as well.
I have jokes that I kind of, and definitely it's catered towards the LGBT community. Yeah. So I try my jokes there. It's a dangerous thing, but my joke is not, degrading at it at all. But the joke I did on Wednesday in reference to the Caitlyn Jenner and.
Yeah.
So I did that joke there, and I didn't get a big response from the crowd. But when I got off, a member of the trans community came up to me and said, "I love the way that you delivered that."
Oh,
joke.
okay.
So that meant everything.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So they didn't tense up?
No, well, initially they do because they don't know where I'm going.
Right.
When I say I'm learning about the trans community, they're assuming, and you get it as a black comic, people are not always going to think of you as a think tank. They're going to think that it's going to be a certain type of way. So they weren't expecting it to be thought out. I think they thought it was going to be me bashing or anything when I initially started. I started learning about the trans community.
Yeah.
So once I start that, everybody's like, "Oh, here we go with this bullshit."
Here comes a Dave Chappelle
basically.
Line or something.
Yeah, I'm right up the ass. No, it wasn't like that. It's not like that at all. But so once I got into the joke, though, I can see that it turned, and the laughter that I did hear was from her and her friend. Okay. So, but I think the other people there, the other comics, were like sitting on the fence waiting for me to mess it up. Like, oh my God, is he nuts? Yeah. Can't do this here. You know? Like, no, you got to test your material where the people are that could be offended to make sure that you don't do it, because it shouldn't. Most comics don't come across or want to be malicious.
Exactly.
They just want to tell their joke, make light of whatever that situation is. So
I love when comics take risks too, as long as they're not malicious, to your point, they're not trying to, because I feel like 90% of the time or higher, when there is perceived disagreements between groups, it's got nothing to do with real malice. It's like just misunderstanding. Yeah. Or like you don't know the other person's perspective, or you don't know them as an individual, so you don't even try because you're afraid maybe you'll say something wrong, and then maybe I'll get canceled, or and I'll just choose to distance myself from those groups.
I'm 46 years old. I don't care about cancellation. Like,
me neither.
I'm like,
me neither.
I'm like, what the hell is cancellation? You can't cancel me. Like, you don't have the power to cancel me. Right. First of all, I hadn't gotten my career started yet. And second of all, I have a career outside of comedy, so I'm not not pressed about losing money by people telling me that I'm canceled. Like, that's a state of mind that it exists in the Twitter world.
It does. I don't want to lose my job. Yeah. But
if I do, I'm good. Yeah, I'll figure it out.
For sure. What is your day job?
So that's the funny thing.
I feel bad asking. I should know.
No, it's cool. It's totally cool. I'm a social worker. So my day job is I house homeless veterans. I run a program in Colombia that houses veterans that are either literally homeless or at risk of becoming homeless. Okay. And so the government gives me a whole bunch of money to do that. And so I have a staff of about 7 people, outreach workers, an assessment worker, and 2 case managers, and a quality specialist that does our data. And I head that team, and we go out and we find houses for people, man.
So you get to know these veterans on a personal level.
Yeah.
You get to know.
So if you've been to the joint, our open mic, there's a shelter about 2 blocks down. Okay. From there, and so sometimes they drift in that area. So a lot of times, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
A lot of times they drift in that area, and I'll curtail them because I know them personally. Sure. And it's like, hey, no, you don't want to come down here. Like, this is not the spot. What you need? You need something to drink. You need some water. You need, something to eat. And make sure that they don't interrupt what we have going on there. But yeah, I get to know a lot of the guys and females that we work with, and develop relationships with them, and try to get them off the street. Some of them are really wanting to do it. Some of them, they've been doing it for so long, it's more comfortable for them to be doing that than actually living in the house. So
Crazy.
It's definitely a crazy state of mind. And right now, Columbia's at a point to where they want to push all of the homeless facilities and just homelessness outside of the general city area, because they're building up so much. And so now you're having an influx of people in the outer limits as well, with, they don't have any place to stay because the shelters are either overcrowded or the police are arresting people at an enormous rate. So it's,
dang.
Yeah, it's rough, man. But we're trying to get them off the street, and it's like, hey, if you let us do our job, we can help each other. But of course, when politics and finances get into play, they don't have time to wait for that. They'd rather spend $6 or $7 million to replenish a park versus spending $1 million to build housing for roughly 450 people.
So how does it work? Are these like apartments that can house the...
If they wanted to make apartments, they could buy apartments and just house them with homeless people. It costs less money to do that than it would for them to put them in jail, to put them in mental health institutions, and to pay the police officers to continually waste their time to push them out or arrest them for minor infractions. We waste more money on not doing the thing that works, which is finding housing for those specific people.
Do you lobby at all to get more funding? Or
I used to when I first got there, because I had to start our program from scratch. Like, we were existing in Charleston for some time, and they moved me to Columbia to start the program. So when I first got there, I thought that it was going to be a well-oiled machine and things were going to be all up and ready for me to go, but that was not how that worked.
Right.
So I basically became a door-to-door panhandler, lobbying for the very thing that I was trying to get people off the streets doing. So I was going door to door, went to a lot of different organizations to see if they would partner with us, and I didn't really have to seek money. That wasn't really what I was looking for. It was more so resources for the clients that we were working with, and clients themselves, trying to figure out where can I find these people that are in need of housing. The government gives us money, so it's a VA grant. So it's a program that Michelle and Barack started when they were in office. And,
so is that new?
Yeah, it's been only here for about close to 10 years. And I've been working with it for about 8 years. So
but it's strictly veterans.
Yeah, my side. Well, we've gotten other grants since then. So my office also
just general homeless people too,
non-veterans as well.
And you place them in jobs as well, or do you assist with job placement?
We work with programs that help with job placements. We help them get disability. If they have mental health issues, then we help with that. We help reconnect them with their families. I mean, there's a variety of different services that we assist with.
Sure. How what's the success rate at versus all the population you're trying to help versus the ones that you can help versus the ones that are struggling?
Our recidivism rate is really low. I would say it used to be
recidivism means going
backwards, like cycling back into homelessness. So we used to be at about 8 to 9% recidivism rate, which is way past what the national scale is. I think now we're probably at about 12, which is about around the average. But a lot of that has to do with the rising cost of housing in Columbia, and it's just not a lot of housing stock, and being that it's a college town and cost of living is going up continually and income is not. It's causing people to kind of go backwards. So
yeah, that's a scary thing. That's where I get my econ feelers out. It's just one thing I worry about is the rising cost of everything. Inflation is pretty rampant this year because of all the COVID spending, and it's just a simple idea, but the more money you put into the circulation, assets denominated in the currency you're pumping are going to go up. It's a matter of fact. And the poorest among us have the hardest time coping with inflation.
Yeah.
Because they don't tend to own assets that are rising. They just are getting paid wages. Yeah. And they still have to buy all the things that are rising as well.
Yeah,
so.
they're purchasers. Then it's kind of how the capitalist system works. It's capitalizing off of those that just buy.
Yeah. Well, the only point I would make is it's capitalism kind of poorly managed.
Yeah,
because
it's not. Yeah, we're not.
It's sound money is a part of a good economy, and if you're inflating the currency.
We don't do it in its truest form.
No. It's kind of corrupted by public interests and also just a certain part of it we kind of had to do, I guess, because COVID stimulus was required. If people can't work, you have to, you have to write some checks because people are just staying home to stop. So some of it, we're just going to have to stomach, but we'll have to rein it in at some point. And politicians on both sides like to spend money. Yeah. So,
I think in comparison, to other countries, like our stimulus was a slap in the face.
And in terms of
because Canada
low?
was getting $2,000 a month.
Wow. I wonder what their inflation rate's doing.
Their economy's a lot different too, so their taxes are way higher. But they have free public health and free public schooling and college. So there's a lot of caveats to what they do, and I don't know whether I would be inclined to say they're better off than we are. But I'm curious too to see how they're
they also have more of a easy, like their population I think is smaller, and they also have America is just crazy in terms of our mentality, the different cultures of different states, we're stubborn, we fight, which is why we're super competitive, we're super ambitious. We were like, it's a messy country. It's a beautiful country. I love it. But
a beautiful mess.
Yeah, exactly. I think it still is. But yeah, it is stressful times, especially for those lower income folks and the folks you're trying to help.
Yeah.
So do you see yourself staying in that a long time?
I think in some capacity I'll always be invested in working with people. I've never not had a job working with people since I was a kid. My mom kind of made us work when I was a kid. She worked with the Department of Special Needs. Okay. And so as a child, I had to go in to work with her during the summers. So I think I started working there, doing their summer program as a volunteer when I was like 11. And then I got an actual job when I was like 13 as a paid volunteer. Okay. So I was literally making like 50 cents an hour. But in the 1980s, that wasn't bad money as a kid. Sure. So at the end of
it's like an allowance.
Yeah, it was like $300 at the end of the summer. Yeah. So you
feel like you're rich when you're 13.
Yeah, you're 13. Well, I wasn't even, I was 12, 13. So I could, I bought all my school clothes myself. Okay. And so that was, gave me a source of independence. And then when I got 15, when I was of legal age to actually work, then I started getting more money. I think it was like $375 because I was like, geez, I'm old.
What was your first job?
That was my first job.
That was your first. So you were continuing with that same.
Yeah, I worked there from the time that I was 11 until I was 20.
Okay. I worked. And I'm sorry. What was the?
It's called the Department of Department of Special Needs.
Special Needs.
Yeah.
So you worked with mentally disabled,
mentally, physically disabled kids, and
very cool.
And then I learned how to. It taught me a lot. I learned how to drive a boat. I learned how to
drive a boat.
Yeah.
Why was that a part of it?
So when I got 15, then I was able to drive. Like they had summer activities, so we would drive. They had a lake and a pond. Okay. And so I would drive them in the boat on a trip. Like they'd go and, we'd go in a circle or whatnot. So they taught me how to
So you were working
drive
at the summer camp?
Yeah, I worked at the summer camp. I learned how to ride horses. I became a lifeguard the latter part of my years. So I learned a lot, and it was instructional things as well. So I learned how to swim. Well, I kind of knew how to swim before, but I really learned how to swim.
Yeah.
And became a lifeguard as well, which paid a lot more money towards the end. And I didn't have to just do it there. I could be a lifeguard anywhere. So I had to pass the required
That's cool.
courses.
So you've been both working since a young age, but also working for things that have good causes behind them.
The only other job I would say that I had, two other jobs that I had that probably wasn't as directed to people is I was working for this program for kids when I was in college, where we did a lot of work on the highways for the Department of Transportation. So we cleaned up the highways and things of that nature, and helped build roads. So I learned how to drive a forklift, and they were looking for college kids, primarily black college kids. And so my friends and I got that job. So that wasn't so much working with people, but it was still for a good cause.
Sure.
Some of the roads that we built are up and running now. And so we were a part of really providing that landscape for that. Yeah. And then Walmart. I worked for Walmart for a while. Yeah. But it's still working with people, I guess you can say. I worked in the electronics department. So
you think that came from your mom? Like your desire to help people?
Yeah, my dad was a cop and my mom worked there. So I was always doing that. And then I went to church and played piano at church and stuff. So definitely.
That's really cool, man. I actually remember your interview. I think it was with Michael, where you talked about, or maybe it was a different one, a different podcast. We were talking about leading worship at church.
Yeah.
And are you still involved with the church, or have you kind of distanced? Are you not religious anymore? You kind of
No, I was always probably more spiritual than religious. But a large part of my personal growth came from being in the church, and so. Of course, as growing up where I grew up, my parents didn't have a whole lot of money. None of them made a lot of money, even as, influential as their careers were. They didn't make a lot of money. So we couldn't go play. We didn't travel a lot or do anything prior to me going to church. But my pastor was young and enthusiastic and had traveled the world. And so when I met him, and he saw some things in myself and a few of my cousins, he just took us under his wing and opened us up to a whole new world of things that we would have never experienced had it not been for church. Okay. And so I got to travel, and I could say that I've been to maybe 30 out of 50 states. Otherwise before then it was just Atlanta and Charlotte. Right. So right. So I've gotten to travel a lot, and a lot of that was because of church. But as I got older, my emphasis was more on spirituality more so than actual religion per se.
So what does that mean? So and what gripes did you have with organized religion? I have some too, so I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I'm curious.
No, I'm perfectly fine talking about it. It's more so that you see the structure of religion and you see where how it produces some level of ideology, and it doesn't coincide with what I feel spirituality is supposed to be. I look at myself as a good guy, a good person. I try to live life the right way, do the right things, make right decisions. I don't always do that, but at the end of the day, you're not going to have anybody saying Travis is an asshole. Yeah. It's going to be I've done good for people. I do good for people on a daily basis. Despite what my job is, I don't just use that as my catalyst for doing good for people. I just do good things for random people just when I can. And so I think that is the key to living a healthy life and not worrying about what happens after I'm not here, versus religion, which would have you believe that if you do A, B, C, or D, or don't do A, B, C, or D, this is what's going to happen to you. I think those were the laws that were put in place for man to live a certain way, but not for people to
maybe for the stability of the society at the time.
Yeah, I think every religion is designed to protect the sanctity of that people, the whatever religion that is. People that believe that specific thing is there to, I don't want to say marginalize, because that's probably a strong word, but it's there to keep people in a place.
Control.
It's a very much a control thing. And for me, like, no, I don't subscribe to that. I don't think that I can condemn somebody based on what they do, because I don't have the power to do that. But what I can do is do what I can do for myself, and that's live the right way and worry about whatever comes after that later. I shouldn't have to worry about it if I'm just doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So I subscribe to that more so than Jesus coming down and saving us. I subscribe to, hey, let's just help your brother, man, and do the best that you can. And that be that. So that's kind of what I go at with the spirituality thing. I mean, there's so many hiccups in history and so many things that can be, I guess, combated when you're talking about religion and you're talking about God versus Jesus versus the Holy Ghost versus Allah versus, whomever you choose to follow. That it gets caught up into man, and I just try to take man out of it and put me into it and leave it at that.
Yeah, I think you mentioned a word that I'm really glad you mentioned, because I think about it a lot. Ideology, like a set of beliefs that's just so like unflinching in one direction is a scary thing, because you think back at history, ideology causes a lot of things. It's like this unwillingness to be open to other ideas. Like Nazism is an ideology, racism, modern day Republicans and Democrats have a program that is very ideological, and if you deviate, you can't even talk to the other person anymore. These ideologies create fear, and in religion too. It's
an oxymoron to free will. You can't be idealistic and have free will. It's not. Those two things don't work together. Because
you're a slave to the ideology. You're a slave to the program.
You got to do what they're telling you you're supposed to do. That's not free will.
So I wrestle with. I still believe in God and everything, and I align myself with Christianity for sure. I just had a hard time with my understanding of it growing up.
It's the same. I feel the same way about religion as I do about politics. So I'm expected to be a Christian. So I vote that way. But I subscribe to other things as well if I see it and it makes sense. So and it's the same thing with me voting Democrat. Like, I'm expected to be a Democrat just because I'm black, but I don't subscribe to. I subscribe to other things as well. I don't make myself pigeonholed into that specific category. I do whatever I feel I want to do, because I don't give a damn. Like, at the end of the day, no man is going to judge me. It'll be the works that I've done.
Sure.
It's going to put me over. So,
and nobody could live up to an ideology. Like, if it's a religious context, like, you can't follow everything perfectly. So how I would take it was I would just hate myself anytime I sin. I was like, man, that's a bad thought. That's a bad, and it would just be so hard on me psychologically that I had to kind of not put it to the side, but open up to, other things. Creativity, comedy was part of that. You kind of have to, because if you have that mindset and you start to try to be creative, you're immediately going to hate everything you did, because you're like, that's bad. That's not good. And you're going to be way too critical. So letting go of that was part of kind of letting go of ideology.
And
I feel like ideology and creativity are opposites in a way.
You cannot be an idealist and do comedy. Like, it would,
because failure is a part of it. You'd ruin yourself.
You would not be able to manage yourself doing it, trying to do those two things or having that thought process. I think comedy has allowed me to express myself a lot more. Music did as well, but I think comedy is a different level to that, because I always was like a class clown and all of those things, but and I always wanted to try comedy, but music kind of trumped it. And when I realized that, hey, I don't have to just do one thing, like finding the balance between the both of them was what really helped me out and become myself. Like because I was your typical didn't get in trouble, straight laced dude for a long.
You were goody two shoes.
Oh man, yeah, definitely.
I was too, dude.
Yeah,
100%.
man, I was a goody two shoes up until probably about 3 or 4 years into my marriage. And then I started venturing out into other things,
Do you feel like you were maybe sheltered and wanting to experience other things?
No, I always had the opportunity. I think what it was for me is I watched other people fail so badly at making bad decisions that I just wanted to make the right decision.
Okay.
My father was an alcoholic, and even though he was a police officer, well respected, everybody loves him. He was the greatest guy in the world to everybody else. But to me, he was my drunk dad a lot, So it was a different relationship. And so watching that and watching a lot of people my age and my cousins and family members go through, deal with drugs and selling and using and alcoholism and things of that nature. I grew up in an environment where I did not want to do any of those things.
Sure.
And so it wasn't that I was sheltered. I had every access to all of that shit. I just made a decision not to do it and to change the dynamic of my life. And basically, I was the anomaly. Like I wasn't the, I didn't take my first drink of alcohol until the day I graduated college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I didn't drink at all in college. And the day that I graduated, my cousin bought me a drink, and I was like, what the hell, I'll drink it.
Yeah.
And so
you didn't drink it all through college.
Not at all,
That's
no.
impressive. Where'd you go?
South Carolina State University.
Okay.
That would make it even more impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, is that a party school? Like,
Yeah.
The Temptation
Oh, yeah.
was
Yeah.
there?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, did you just pass on all the parties?
No, I went to every party.
You went to the parties just
and
to
I was
okay.
sober every single time. Yeah.
Good for
And I
you,
would
man.
drive people home. I had the first Uber. Yeah, man. People would pay me $2 to take them home. So that's how I made money. That's how I put gas in my car. So at the end of the night, if they could ruffle up, I had 2 different cars, but one of my cars was small. But the big car that I had was like a New Yorker.
Okay.
And so my stepmom gave me that, man. And I used to go to every party. So people would ride with me if they were drunk and torn up. Like they'd give me $2 and I'd take them back to the dorm.
Okay.
Drive them back.
So what happened when you graduated? Did you have a stint where you drank heavily?
No,
And
never.
Never?
I never had a
That's
stint where I
great,
drank
man.
heavily. Yeah. I mean, just, it's like when you saw my grandfather, my father, my grandfather's father, it was just it was a long line. And I was like right there, and somebody had to break the cycle. So I did. But I was afraid actually, and I think it was more self-conscious than anything to drink, because I knew that was something in my family.
Sure.
That persisted. So I didn't drink for a long time, even after I graduated. I didn't, I had that drink, and I probably didn't drink again probably for like 2-3 years.
Okay.
And I didn't really start drinking more socially until I think I was separated from my kid's mom.
Okay.
And my friends were horrible influences on me. And so I just was always I lived with my best friend for a stint, and I was just drinking socially, but I still never got drunk or anything like that. It was just pretty casual.
Yeah.
Casual with it. So
Gotcha.
I've only been drunk probably about 3 times in my life.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and they were really bad though.
They were really bad?
It was really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. It was horrible.
Yeah. I have I was more of a shit show, definitely. But yeah, dude, that's cool. So how do you think you've like grown as a person since you've started comedy?
Man,
Do you think about how different you are now than you were a year ago? Like, do you see changes in you?
Confidence wise, yeah, definitely. I would have never thought, not that I'm big or anything, but I would have never seen it grow this fast. Like, because this time last year, I had only done maybe 1 show, maybe 2 shows.
Like paid gigs versus open mics?
Well, yeah, paid gigs, yeah. Yeah, I'd only done 2 shows up until this point last year. Now, up into this year, from the end of last year to this year, I think it's been about 72.
Wow.
So I've done about 72 shows.
Yeah.
So I was averaging about 4 or 5 a week at one point this summer. So it was getting up there, man.
Yeah, that was a note I had about, the pace of your progression, because comics always talk about like how long you've been doing it. It's like the first question anybody asks, just because the repetitions are so critical to developing. Like,
Comedy Zone. Had it not been a Comedy Zone, I would definitely not be in this position.
Really?
Like, yeah, because
how so?
Well, the first place that I, because when you are in a certain area, like you said, that you get accustomed to a bunch of people or a certain type of people or your friends and people that you hang out with a lot listening to your jokes. So you don't really get an idea of how other people receive your jokes. And so when I first started, I was just in Columbia. I didn't go anywhere else. So once I started my open mic and other people were coming down, I heard about the open mic in Charlotte. In Fort Mill, Chris Corrado's.
Yeah.
So I did his, and it was well received, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, like people really like this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is cool, because I wasn't getting that at R&B. Like that was, I don't know if anybody that's been R&B, it definitely prepared me for the boos and the fuck yous and all of that,
or just
stuff.
the not paying
and
attention.
Not paying attention. Yeah. So you were really battling against the people that were there to drink and play pool. And so I remember I'd get everything started, and I'd be like, y'all ready for some comedy? We're like, fuck no. Like, take your ass home. I was like, damn. I was like Kevin Hart and John Cheadle, like, damn. Man, damn. So yeah, it definitely prepared me for that. So when I went to Chris Corrado's show, to his open mic, and it was well received, and he, that means hey, good set, man. I was like, thanks, appreciate it. And I did all impressions that night. I did mostly impressions. So I did the same thing later that week and went to the Comedy Zone for the first time.
Right down here, right?
Yeah. And it was very well received, and I was just like, whoa, like, okay, like maybe I can do this. So I started coming every week as much as I could. And
so you enjoyed bouncing around in the car to these different places?
And the biggest thing that I enjoyed was at the point to when the Comedy Zone started having regular people come in, I had an audience, and I was on a big stage. Right. So it made me feel like I was actually doing it, and I was filming my sets. And so when I was putting them out there on, I didn't know that people would steal your stuff, but I was putting it out on Facebook and Instagram and everything, and people were like, oh my God, we're so proud of you. You're like at the Comedy Zone. Right. And I'm not thinking to myself, like, this is only open mic. So I just let them think whatever they were thinking. But what it did is it groomed me to being on a stage and actually doing it in front of people and making them laugh. And so I started tapping into my personality, and I found my niche. I found the thing that made me tick. And once I did that, man, it just kind of grew from there. But I would have never seen that from last year to here. Like that just totally blew my mind. I didn't think that would be the case. But a lot of that had to do with Michael, to be honest with you. Michael. He had the connections because he's been doing it, and he he put the word out there, like, hey, dude's funny, like, and he just kept saying it. And,
Michael's so gracious, man.
Oh yeah.
He's
I
really
call him
cool.
The Godfather. He doesn't want to take those type
and he's
of
so modest.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm looking forward to more mean jokes from him, because it hits so hard.
Yeah,
because
hilarious.
He's so unexpected.
Exactly. And Robert Taylor too, man. Robert was very instrumental on helping me out with my writing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because he saw pretty early. He was like, hey man, this funny, like, this, change this word, or look at it from this perspective.
Yeah.
He never tried to change my joke, but he changed the way that I thought about it, so the delivery would be better.
And it's great when you have people like that who can give you feedback, where you can tell they're not shitting on you. Yeah, it's coming from a great place, and they know what they're talking about.
Exactly. Some of my best jokes that have worked is because Robert taught me how to reword things. Right. And so I owe a lot to both of them. They were very instrumental in helping me out, man. It's been great.
I think it's cool too what you said about having that stage, that big stage to do your material in, and like having that light bulb, like, okay, here's how it works in a shit ass bar in wherever, where it's hard to get any laughs, and then you could take that same material. Because it would suck to only do bar shows and not have any, kind of reward for yourself in front of a good. So I love Comedy Zone for that same reason. It's kind of like, it should be fun there. Hopefully, like, you're taking material there that's hopefully gonna work.
Yeah, and in Columbia we don't have that. Like, the comedy house doesn't have an open mic, so to get there,
can we get that started? You think
it's tough? We've had some opportunities to get it started, but they've gone through a change of staff so much that it's kind of hard to get it on and popping, and so it has to make sense for them, and definitely has to make sense for us. But yeah, we tried to kind of put it in there. You know, the guy that we had working there is not there anymore, so. I mean, it's something that's still probably on the table. We just have to make a night that it works.
Okay.
You know, in order to do it, I don't want to run it. I don't want to run another open mic ever again.
Yeah,
because it's tough. But I enjoy helping everybody else that wants to do it.
Have you done Laughing Skull in Atlanta?
Yeah, I did it last Monday.
How was it?
It was great.
Dude.
I messed myself up though. Don't get me wrong. I did well. I didn't do as good as I should have,
right?
Because I tried to cram 30 minutes into 4.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So, you know, I was doing like I just wanted to do everything. I wanted to do John Legend. I didn't have to. Like it's just like I love the joke so much, and I want people to see it done, that I tried to squeeze it in, and it didn't make any damn sense.
All of me.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
I tried to squeeze that in at the end after I was already doing a pretty good set, and it just didn't make sense. But nobody blamed. They didn't know that didn't make any sense. It just was like, okay, great, and then they clapped. But I did pretty well. I would give myself about a 7 out of a 10.
Okay.
You know? But if I left that out, I probably would have given myself about an 8 tonight, because I had them going. I just did it with that, and I didn't have enough time, and I didn't want to run the light because I thought that would be rude. Everyone after me did though. You
get a lot of people running the light, and they play that Titanic song.
They started playing the music.
That's probably the favorite besides comedy. So Comedy Zone's probably my favorite because it's here. But that, talk about a reward for lots of tough mics. I mean, 70 people. Was it sold out when you went?
Yeah, it was sold out. It was standing room only. Yeah.
First time I went out there, I was like shocked because they keep you backstage.
You don't know.
So most mics, you're in the audience before you go up, so you kind of know what the room's gonna feel like. But I was pretty surprised when you go out there, and everybody's like on top of you almost, and their faces are just looking up at you, and you're like, okay. But
I had a lot of fun though. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was definitely worth the experience, and I'll definitely go back. And the drive wasn't bad for me either. So I was anticipating it being. I mean, I've been to Atlanta several times, since I've been to Columbia. But for whatever reason, I kept thinking in my mind it's gonna be like 4 hours or whatever. But that's like from Charleston. But when I got there, it was like 2 hours and 35 minutes, 2:40, and I was like, oh, this is nothing. I've driven to Myrtle Beach, and that's just as long. So.
Right.
I was happy about that, so I'll definitely be back. I think I'm going to go back in December. I think is the next time.
Okay.
They'll probably have an opening. So.
Yeah, I have a date in December, I think.
They hadn't given me a date yet, but
okay. If it ends up being the same one, we'll have to.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
But
swing through this way.
But yeah, it's cool that comedy is like somewhat universal in that it'll work different places. It kind of reminds me of. I don't know if do you ever take a foreign language in school?
Yeah, I took 4 yeyears of Spanish. I
Spanish?
took 2 years in high school and 2 years in college, and I can't say anything but Hakuna Matata.
It'll leave. I remember.
It means no worries.
Yeah, it's cool that I remember you learn Spanish in a classroom, but all the words, concepts, sentences, and it's self-evident that that's true, but. It'll work with Spanish speakers you've never met before. So I'd have it in my community where like there'd be native Spanish speakers. That's like their main language. And I was working at this little pizza place, and I'd say some Spanish to them that I learned in class, and to have it work and have them understand and respond to it feels similar to comedy to me. Like you can take just random strangers, and I mean some references won't work, but you find what does. And it's really cool that. People who don't even know you.
Yeah, I did a few guest spots at the Carolina Comedy Club in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, I'm going there in a couple weeks. I'm excited.
It's great. I mean, that was another point where I could say that people that were on the show, the headliner and the feature, came to me after I got off the stage and was like, "Hey, we want you to stay for the whole weekend."
Wow.
Yeah, I just couldn't do it because the first time I did it, my son was graduating from high school. So
what if you blew off your son's graduation?
I know, right? He's like, nah.
This could be big, man.
Yeah, like, you didn't even go to school last year, man. You were home. Like, you didn't have no fucking career. Bah.
Just FaceTime me. I'll watch you.
Exactly.
Walk
I could
across
watch you on YouTube. I could watch you on Facebook, man. Because you could. My sister watched him on Facebook. But so that's the only reason why I couldn't do it. And but the guy that was there, he like gave me all his information, the headliner, and was like, yo, man, he's like, if you're ever in Tampa, hit me up and I'll put you on the show. Like, just let me know. And the same same for the feature. So, and then I went back like 2 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, and same thing. I got information. Matter of fact, the guy that headlined this show that I did last, he actually used to run a show at the Laughing Skull.
Okay.
And so he was the one that told me that I should go there. He said, "You murder out there." He's like, he's like, just do it. Like
at Laughing Skull?
Yeah, that's what he told me. He's like, "You murder out there." I was like, "Yeah, hopefully it's a place called Laughing Skull. It's the perfect place for murder." And so, and so he was like, "Nah, definitely, get on the sign up list, man, and do it." And I did it literally that night, and then I got my response back pretty quickly, and but yeah, he gave me his information. The feature. The feature was actually better than the headliner that night. But he was killing, man. Like, he was out there, like, destroying.
Yeah.
And,
who were these guys?
I don't have their name. I'm Facebook friends and
no,
Instagram
it's
friends,
cool.
but I don't remember it right offhand. But they were both of Indian descent.
Okay.
And so it worked perfectly with either the both of them, whatnot. And but yeah, it was great. Like, the crowd.
Good room. Like, what's the room
awesome
like?
Room. Everybody looked like they were on AARP, but it was an awesome room. Like,
well, they're probably pretty relaxed and ready to laugh. If they're sipping on margaritas, Jimmy Buffett kind of.
They were all trapped. They were all tourists, so nobody was from Myrtle Beach in the audience. The guy that hosts the show, he was. He asked that question and nobody was from Myrtle Beach, so it was all tourists. But they were great, man. Yeah, both times that I went, they were absolutely great. And got really good, responses. So.
That's good. I'm looking forward to it. Robert Taylor recommended that one.
Oh yeah, you'll love it. And Leslie is awesome too.
Is she the one that runs the list?
She does. Yeah.
She might have been the one that called me. It was a woman who called me to confirm my availability.
Yeah.
But yeah, that dude, I'm jealous of that Laughing Skull setup they have. Yeah. To have a packed room every night of different people.
3 nights a week.
Yeah.
Just for the open mic. And it's packed, and at $15 a pop. Like, that's what you strive for.
And it's pretty cool. They have resident comics where they have their own room to where you can just work out material and you got a spot.
It's kind of like the Comedy Cellar in a sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty cool, man.
I would love to have that here at Comedy Zone. I think we're maybe a decade away from having the population to support the demand for comedy at that level. But I don't know. It's cool seeing comics get better around here.
Yeah, man. I've been impressed with the growth of a lot of the comics as well. Like, I can see the growth in you. I've seen growth in Jazz and Jalen and
Jalen, Scooter.
Oh, Scooter's always been one of my favorites, man.
Yeah. I
remember the first time that I saw him, and Brandon was in the back, just like, don't do a whole bunch of cursing. That's my Brandon.
Brandon was telling Scooter to not curse.
Like, don't do a whole lot of cursing. You have to curse like that. And Scooter gets out there and just said, pussy, 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 pussy.
Did he do that as his first words into the mic?
Nah, but it was just all his jokes was like, pussy. Ma'am, you got a good pussy. You look like you have a good pussy. I was just like, man, I had tears in my eyes.
Dude,
I was hollering. Dude. So yeah, they're like some of my favorite people. And then Brandon's been really good too. Like, just
so we've been having a little fun here because Brandon's on tour with Ginger Billy. Yeah. So there's been more, rotating hosts and things. And I've been seeing Jazz a lot more on stage.
And I hate that now that I'm too busy to get here. That's what I hate, because like that was a part of my routine. So now I have shows on Thursday sometimes. So I can't always make it, and I travel so much during the week that it's like, dang, I gotta drive.
It's a good problem to have. we'll be here.
No, but I love it. I actually love not just that, the camaraderie. Like I feel more a part of the Greenville comedy community than I did the Columbia comedy community.
Yeah,
because it is very cliquish there.
Yeah,
and so it's like we have our clique, and we don't mean to have it.
That's how I feel.
Everyone.
Yeah,
but I just felt more comfortable coming here than there, and even like my hometown, Charleston, like they.
There's clickiness there too.
Yeah, there's a little bit of clickiness there, but they have a lot more venues now that's really open, and I don't think that they intend on being cliquish. I don't think that that's a thing. I think that it just happens to be that way.
Yeah.
But now that it seems like they're opening up a lot more avenues for comics, and it looks great down there. Man.
Who did you do shows with in Charleston? Did you do shows with Doug?
I've
done
a show with Doug. I did the mini bar with Doug.
Isn't that a fun spot?
Yeah, that was fun.
Did you all have a good night that night? Was it
the nooses and the black men in blackface hanging on the wall?
Oh shit!
Yeah,
there's a. Why do they have that hanging up?
Yeah, it's Charleston, buddy. I grew up there. I can't.
It's 2020. Take it down.
Yeah, we definitely. So I didn't see it until another black comic from Atlanta brought it out.
Oh my
and when he
God.
brought it out, like I looked up and I was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me!" Like it was like literally right.
Dude, that's way worse than a statue.
It was bad, bro. But it was bad. It was like I was like, "This is not good." Like, and the owner was like bright red. Like he was so embarrassed. But
how did he not know?
I didn't even look to think about it, and it's just me not knowing because like. I've learned since that when a comic, when you walk in a room, observe the room, look at everything in the room, because that's your first 5 minutes of your set.
Yeah.
And you can literally
get 5 minutes out of a.
I mean, I've done 15 minutes out of something because if something works, you keep driving it in the hole.
Right.
And so I learned that doing more of the black comedy clubs. Can
you explain this to me? So give me an example. Yeah. So like you got an observation in the room
and
it gets a reaction. So you're like, okay.
You drive that sucker in the hole and you use it for a callback. Like if you can pull it back. So for instance, I did this show at a suburban lodge and they had a lot of Freemason pictures on the wall.
Okay.
And these were some ugly motherfuckers. Yeah. So I went through each of the pictures and started pointing out who was uglier and things of that nature. And then the walls were like that old school wooden wall, kind of like would remind you of a double wide trailer.
Okay.
And so I talked about the walls. And then there was a roach. I saw a roach on the outside before I came into the facility.
Okay.
And I saw another roach on the inside. And it was super duper packed. And so I just started talking about the roach. I named the roach Harry. And so I was
on the spot?
Yeah, just on the spot. I was like, I said, look at this. I saw Harry outside, and I asked that motherfucker, was he coming in? And he said he didn't have the money to come in. You motherfuckers, y'all charging $10 for this shit. And I was like, but Harry made it in, and that motherfucker didn't even pay. Like, God damn, Harry. So I just started talking about that, and it just ended up being a part of my set. And, and anytime I felt that I could use Harry, it's like, God damn it, Harry, could you let me do my job? Right. I just did, and it worked.
Yeah.
So it's just but you're supposed to observe the room before you do your set, so that if you can find something to talk about, you can do it, and you can just keep killing it. Like I did close to 15 minutes before I even started my actual material.
That's amazing.
And
that
so
amount of time.
and I ended up having to waste time because the headliner didn't show. So this was the first time that I had ever been up on stage that long.
Yeah.
The most till that point was probably like 20 minutes. And then I did like 45 minutes that night. And I was super happy and proud of myself because of that.
Hell yeah.
But just learning and listening to other people tell me like, hey, pay attention to the room. So when I went to the small bar, I was like, wow, this is nuts.
Yeah. I try to do that, but I'm confident enough to kind of make an opening sentence or two, and then I pretty well get into material. But I enjoy it when stuff works and it's in the moment. That's like really magical because it's that night only, that audience, they're all in on it. It's not contrived,
exactly,
because it's just like you're free. It just
and And it's just a different form of comedy, and once you make it work, like it makes you feel a lot better, and then you get confidence to do it again. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, you can take that one little.
Was that
bit.
the first time you'd done it when you were at the club with the cockroach?
I freestyled
example?
before at the Comedy Zone. You know, somebody might say something during my set, and I might. I think I remember one time this kid started talking about how all women have terrible pussies. And then I was.
It was
like,
a previous set.
Yeah, it was a previous set, and I got up and I was like, "Hey, dude, like you can't come up here and start talking about women's pussy when 90% of the people in the audience are women." Like, I was like, technically, 98% of all women have good pussy, and all the women started clapping, and I said the other 2% is Lindsey Graham. And I forgot whoever I said.
When in doubt, go back to Lindsey.
Lindsey is always my contact, but
I mean, he's a huge.
just cause, man, that dude, I can't. But
I know.
He just goes back and forth, and like, whose side are you on? Like, what are you doing?
Right.
But so yeah, I used him, and yeah, that was freestyle, and then I think one time. Shelly Belly went up, and I had to follow her, and she like rocked the house.
She's great at that conversational crowd work too.
Yeah, man, she was killing, and I had to go up after her, and I was like, "Fuck!" So, so I got up there, and I was like, give it up for Shelly again. I was like, you know what? The last time that I followed a white woman, I ended up in jail, and I just ran with it.
Oh, that's a great little joke. Did you have that off the cuff?
No, I just do it.
No.
I just did it that night, and we.
That's a great little joke.
And we performed together many times, and so anytime
you can go back and use that.
Yeah, anytime that I've had to follow her, that's what I've done, and so I've done it at least 4 times now. She loves it, and we incorporate things with each other.
It is really fun. The best sets I've ever had are when I played off with a previous comic, and it was a successful thing. Yeah, that happened at Laughing Skull. There was a comic ahead of me who did this act out. He was a black guy, and he made the audience say, I think I might have mentioned this to you already, but he made the audience say, "Yerp, yerp." He's like, white people, repeat after me, "Yerp, yerp." He's like, all right, you know how to do it now. And then I went up there, and the first thing I did was, "Yerp."
New York term.
What's that?
It's a New York.
It's a New York term? Yeah. Okay, I had no idea what I was doing, but he killed so hard that I was like, shit. I was like, God damn. So I was like, I'm going to try to do that. I was like, am I doing this right? I was like, I think I'm doing it wrong. And the audience loved that because they were all in on that. And then my first joke hit really well.
Yeah.
That's and then I'm pissed. I'm still pissed to this day because I tried a newer joke that kind of bombed, and it just hurt the momentum. The rest of the set went great. But other than that, it would have been a nice showcase set.
But yeah, man, I mean, it's you got to try it though. You can't not do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the thrill is in the trying.
Absolutely.
The result is just the benefit. So so I always look at it that way. Sometimes things don't hit, and it's like, okay. So I try to joke. Yeah, I try.
Do you
to
have
joke
a bailout line?
Oh yeah, I'll go. Well, that shit didn't work. Like, okay, back to the drawing boards.
Yeah,
let me get funny.
Right.
But yeah, I tried one Monday night and it didn't work at all. Like I overly thought that out. I was like, this is terrible. I was like, I was like, it can't get any worse than that. I said, but I was hosting for the open mic, so I was like, well. I hope you guys can do better than I just did. I don't think you will, but the next comic coming to the stage. And so then later, the next thing, I said, so let me tell you some funny stuff, just so I can be funny, like for the people that just saw me for the first time.
I think as long as your confidence doesn't shatter, you're probably fine.
I'm so used to it not going well. I've had so many times that it not go well that I'm okay with it.
Right.
In an open mic. I now if it's in a show, then it might mess with me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm only using things that have worked. And sometimes I'll throw in something new, but it has to be something that cracked me up when I wrote it. Like something that has me hysterical to throw in something new. Or somebody in the audience might give me something and I might try it out. But generally if it doesn't hit when it has hit other places. That's when it hits hard. You're like, oh shit, like this is not working.
Yeah, because then then you can second guess everything else you have planned
in life.
And and you're like, shit, I haven't tested this enough. Like,
that happened to me last year. Like, I went to Charleston for the first time and did a show, and it was a big show. It was like, the guy was a nationally touring comedian, and the host was also a nationally touring comedian. And I kind of bullied myself onto the show.
Oh, look at you!
Yeah, because so the young lady that owned the restaurant, I did advertising for her. So I took the flyer and made a video out of it and put some clips in it. And she was like, "Hey, I heard you were doing comedy. Do you want to do it?" And I was hoping she would do it. So she asked me to do it. I said, "Sure, I'll open or whatever." And then it was for comedian Sean Jones was the host. And he was going to be at the Comedy House like literally the 2 weeks before. So we went to see him there. I introduced myself, and he was like excited and everything. And then I got up there, and when I tell you I bombed David, oh my fucking God, bruh, I bombed bad.
Like, you're not just saying that.
Like, oh no. And like Michael, they don't ever believe me when I say I didn't do well. Yeah. And because sometimes I might do well, but I didn't like my performance, and I just didn't.
Right. You're probably pretty more critical now
on myself.
Yeah.
Then I was like, nah, nigga, I bombed. Like, excuse the N-word, but I just like, nah, I bombed. There was no getting around that.
So set the stage for me. So you said it was a big show.
Yeah, it was a big. There wasn't a lot of people there. The people that were there to see me. So that was the best part. That was their first time seeing me perform.
So T.Link's doing comedy.
So they were super excited for me. Now
did their expression just go from like, oh my God.
You know what? They continued to make it seem like I did okay.
Yeah.
But the silence said otherwise. Right. It was like, I know when I'm not doing well. Like, I'm a comic. I've seen bombing before. Like, I've been a part of it. So it was bad, man. But so I get up on the stage. My first joke is this dumb ass joke that I made up in the car that probably has been used 60 million times. I don't know. I was in Walmart and I saw this young lady. Her titties were out, and I don't know why I did this because this is not even a part of my set. I was like, she had a Gap sweater on, but her titties were like, one was over here and the other was over there, and it didn't say Gap. It was just like Gap.
That's pretty funny.
It could be, but it wasn't. And so, but I didn't make it funny. And so it was. They didn't laugh at that, and I was like, okay. So then I didn't know where to go. Like, I didn't trust my material that had been working. I had a string of great shows. Like, I'd done a show with Boudreaux and Orangeburg, killed. Then,
really?
Yeah, killed. I was murdering.
One of my worst bombs ever was on a Boudreaux show.
This was my first show with him, and for whatever reason, he didn't think that I was funny. And so he put me first. He didn't think I was funny because of the set that I did when you were there the first time. Because that was his first time at R&B.
I met Boudreaux that night too.
Yeah, so he didn't think I was funny because I was at that.
Because you were reading about the racial unrest.
Yeah. So he didn't think I was funny, but he just put me on the show anyways because I hosted open mic and I had speakers.
That's so funny.
And so he's going to use me for my speakers. So he put me first.
I've been there before, dude. People use me for that speaker.
Yeah, so he put me first, and then, I killed. Like, everybody had to follow me. So it was a rough go. Everybody did well, though. But it was just like, I killed. So then the next couple of days, Matt Addy had the show at 1626, which was a big show. Like, it was like 100 people there. Yeah. And I had to follow Tom Emmons.
I remember this show. Yeah. So he had the Monday night open mic that he was also doing, and then he did a
Friday night for a show. And so that Friday night, we all went up there and did really, really well. And I did really, really well that night, you know. And so
you got this string of shows under your belt. You're feeling good. You go into this room.
Yeah, I'm killing
it. You do the Walmart titty joke.
I did the Walmart titty joke, and my life ended. I was about to quit comedy, man. It was terrible, dude. When I tell you I bombed, it was so heart aching. And then on top of that, so I had like my then girlfriend, her sister, and her fiance who drove down from Atlanta to see.
Did your girlfriend break up with you because of the performance?
Nah, she didn't say nothing to me. That was even worse. And so, but she had seen me do well before.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God that, so that wasn't a big thing. But then it was another young lady that I used to sleep with was in front of me. Then there was another young lady that was on the corner that I used to sleep with. That was there. And then two in the back that I was wanting to sleep with was in the back. And then the whole group of friends that I knew was sitting there. And so what made it uncomfortable was, before I even got on, there was a group of my friends came, but they brought a guy. He was a homosexual. He's a gay guy. So he... the host said something about homosexuality. He said something about a gay. It wasn't a mean joke, but because it was about a gay guy, this dude was like flamboyant and like, "You not gonna talk about me?" And he started doing that shit. And I was,
so it pissed him off.
He got mad, so he was going back and forth at the host, on and on and on. Like
before you went up.
Before I went up, and it was hard to silence him. And the host was trying to calm the room or whatever, but he just decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna bring you up. So hey, put your hands together. And he messed up my name when I got up there. So it was all kind of, and he was like, what's his name? T something. Hey, put it up for the comic from Charleston. I was like, what the fuck? So I get up, and I don't think he meant anything by it. It was just that he didn't know. He didn't read the paper that I had, and the guy was like bothering him the whole night. So he was frustrated himself that he couldn't calm the room down. So he gave it to me in a hostile situation. And then my first joke, and everybody gave me a big round of applause because they were happy to see me. And I got up there and I said the dumb gap titty joke. It was the dumb gap titty joke from now on.
So
forever.
I had nothing on that, no laughs at all.
People just looked at me like, what the fuck? I was like, and I probably should not have looked in the direction of my girl and her sister. And it was like kind of like we drove all the way from Atlanta to see this shit.
Dude, that's my biggest fear. Like anytime I'm dating a girl here in town, I like don't tell them about comedy. I don't really like. I dread having them come to a show because I like.
It's a little tougher for me though, because like most of the girls that I've dated since have been people that I know from Facebook and Instagram or some social.
Well, yeah, they'll know about it, but they're like, "When can I come to a show?" I'm like, "I got to be on tonight." Like, I can't. Like, if I bomb, this isn't going anywhere. Definitely not sexually.
Yeah,
I'm totally emasculated.
Man, you can use it to your advantage though. I did. I felt so bad about myself, but I mean, it was my girl.
Well, it breaks you down. Like once you bomb, dude.
Man, when I tell you,
it's just like you don't give a shit. You're like, I suck.
Man, like I'm terrible. I was so down in the dumps. Like it was horrible. Like, but I had to pick myself up. Like I had to get to the point to where I had to just shake it off and keep it moving. Yeah. So I made a post on Facebook, essentially apologizing, but just
apologize.
Basically, it was something like that. And
how much time did you do? How much time were you up there?
5 minutes, maybe.
5. Wow.
I ended with the.
It's bad.
The first 4 minutes was terrible.
Yeah.
You know, the last minute I did the John Legend joke. So
you got a little something.
Yeah. I couldn't even.
Like,
John.
Not really.
Yeah, it was there.
Even John Legend couldn't save this one.
Nah, he couldn't save that shitty joke. Like it would be the difference of handing somebody a pizza with shit on the crust. Like, you get down to the crust and you still got that shit there. Like at the end of the day, it was still bad. So yeah, it was the worst time in my comedy career.
But you flipped it around. You said with the girl.
Yeah, that was with my girlfriend. So I mean, of course, she had to give me some pity pussy. So it was that. It was my girl then, but yeah, it's been uphill since then. I didn't let that break me. Yeah. You know, a friend of mine put me on a show in January, which was the first show that I had done after that, and it was the first time that I had done an extended set as well. Like I think I did maybe 15 minutes with Matt, but this one I was technically the headliner.
Oh damn!
Exactly. I didn't have headliner time, but he told me just do how much you can. I think I did about 25 minutes.
Hell yeah!
And so
that's huge.
But I did well. You know, I did pretty good, and I got my confidence back. Yeah. And then after that show, that was January. After that show, I'd say I did maybe one more in February, and then the phone just started ringing off the hook. And like in my Instagram and Facebook, people were just, hey, could you do the show? Could you do the show? Could you do the show? And then I started looking at my dates, and then I had shows booked all the way up to August from that March. And then in between, it was just doing everything that I could, man. I got on stage as many times as I could, and it was sometimes 3 and 4 times a week, sometimes 5. I mean, if you count the open mics, I was gone all week.
Wow.
So Monday I do Jokes at the Joint. Tuesday I do Art Bar. Wednesday I do Donovan Stroud had a spot in Sandbar. And then Thursday I'd come to Greenville. Friday I do a show. Saturday I do a show. Sunday I do a show. Started back over on Monday. And I was doing that religiously for 4 or 5 months. And then I could tell the transition.
I could tell.
Yeah.
I could tell. Because I remember I had a break from seeing you. And then I saw you and Michael at the Joint. And I think I tapped. I was like, dude.
Yeah.
I barely recognize you. I was like, and it's weird because it's not like, I mean, it's the material, but it's also just how you seem. It's like the experience you kind of wear. It's just the confidence, all these subtleties that you can't get besides doing as many mics.
It's when you find, I think I found who I was as a comic because I was always trying to figure it out. I knew that singing was the strongest point of my comedy at one point, but then it got to the point to where I didn't have to rely on it. Yeah. And it was just an added thing that I had. So that worked even better because now my writing got better because I was able to play off the words that I already had. Right. And so once I did that, man, it just opened up a lot of doors. And then I got an opportunity to perform in front of other people. And then so people would talk to other people. Like Don Garrett was somebody that I ended up being on a bunch of shows with. Yeah. I booked him for a show that I had in Charleston. And then Robert booked us together. And then he booked me. And then, he started telling people. So I did his show in May. Tara Brown and some other female comics from Charlotte area was there, and Tara put me in the Queen City Comedy Festival on her show because of what she saw at World of Beer, and I didn't even think I did a great job there. I just did okay, but she saw me there. So it was
isn't that cool, the networking effect? Man, and you never know where it could lead.
And that's what everything that's happened has happened like that. Like I've been in situations where I didn't know who was there. Mike might have known, but he didn't tell me. And then I'm like doing stuff, and sometimes he'd tell me. But then and one time he told me, and I didn't listen to him, and I just did a joke anyways because I just did it. I was like, fuck it, I'm doing this joke. Like, I don't care.
Michael said, don't do the joke?
Yeah, he was like, don't do that joke.
What was the joke? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. It was, so I always try to do things that make people think about issues. So I was like, hey, there's a lot of people, COVID is one thing. I said, but there's a lot of things that people are not talking about in the community. It's like, it's not on CNN, it's not on any of the news networks, but there's a lot of black people that are missing. And then I said, hey, do you remember the time when they used to put people on the back of a milk cart?
Yeah.
And everybody's yeah. I was like, yeah, but why would they do that for black people? That's racist as fuck. Like, we're lactose intolerant. And I said, if you really want to find us, you'd put us on the back of a Hennessy bottle. So that normally gauges a lot of laughs, but it's kind of coonish a joke. It's kind of a little. It's kind of, but it shows you.
Meaning it highlights maybe a negative stereotype.
And so I was like, I said, you guys are racist. I said, what if I said, that's the same as putting a Mexican on the back of a tomato? And man, like the room.
Did they laugh or did they get
it was a mixed reaction. People were cringing, but they still got as a laugh too. Like I got some laughs and I got some cringes. Yeah. But Michael was like, "That's racist as fuck." I said, "I know, but but why is it racist when I say that and not when I say putting blacks on the back of a Hennessy bottle? It's the same stereotype."
Right.
And I said, that's why I say it, because I say you guys are racist. That would be the equivalent of me saying, da-da-da-da. I said, I'm doing that to prove a point. Like, why would you laugh at that and not laugh at this? It's okay to laugh at black people. It's not okay to laugh at Mexicans. Like, what are you saying? And
well, maybe they thought it was okay because you were black saying it.
Exactly.
As a black person,
and that's the paradox that I had. So I was, so he told me not to do it.
You're always going at those ishes, man.
Yeah, I want to mess with people a little bit. I don't want to just leave the stage and people think of me as John Legend. I just I want to
Idris Elba. I think.
Yeah, Idris Elba. I get that too.
You get that?
Well, then my friends call me Idris Elbow, so whatever.
Idris Elbow.
Idris Elbow. Yeah.
Was that just like the Wish version?
Is the not the Trader Joe's, but the Great Value version.
The Great Value version.
Yeah, definitely.
No.
Yeah, man.
Well, looks good. You swag. I'm always impressed. I think I've seen you wear that jacket before.
Yeah, I've worn this.
Where do you do your shopping?
Dillard's, Amazon.
Yeah,
yeah, I do a lot of online shopping. I don't really find a lot of things that I like in the store, so
okay.
I'm on the internet a lot buying things.
And you'll wear that on stage tonight, right? You
yeah.
Incorporate this into your.
Yeah, this is a kind of a subtle outfit.
Mm-hmm.
I like, so my trademark will be my sneakers usually in a
What do you got on
nice
tonight?
jacket. Just Jordans today.
Okay.
Mostly always Jordans, but some are a little more flashy than others. But try to use something that you could always recognize me. If you see me in a suit, I still have on Jordans.
Okay.
More than likely. So.
Hell yeah. So where do you see this going? What's your goal in comedy? I know you got Certified Comics, which you can shout out to. Y'all are starting to tour.
Shout out to my boys, Ness, Dwayne, and Michael.
Yeah.
Garrick. I see this going wherever it takes me, man. Like the ideal situation would be writing for someone and eventually leading
like a TV show or like another comic?
And either another comic, a TV show, a late night show, whatever, doing skits, if it leads me writing for a TV sitcom, I'd love to do that. Love to do voiceovers. I've attempted to do that in the past. I actually went to New York and tried to do it. I hadn't heard anything back. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but
there's a guy I know that does voiceovers. He's my mom's cousin. He lives in LA.
But I love that because I like to imitate voices, but I also like to create different voices and stuff.
Sure.
And I have a deep voice, so whatever it brings me, man.
Would you move to a bigger city to do comedy?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids are a little older now.
So you have that freedom, yeah.
Yeah. My son is 18, so I'd take him with me probably. My daughter's only 13, so I'd probably wait a little bit. But
where would be your next move?
It would either be Atlanta or Charlotte. I mean, it's not too far. If I decide to move, Columbia is a good location because it's not far from anything.
Right.
Any of the major cities in the South. So that gives me some flexibility.
You don't feel like you're not growing because you have the ability.
I can just
It's
go.
on you. You can go. And
2.5 hours, I'm wherever I need to be, at the most. And then here's like an hour, 45 minutes. And Charlotte is not even an hour from where I stay. So I think that I'm in a good location right now. But if I had to move, I would say Atlanta would be the primary destination.
Sure.
Comedy's a little different there, but
what's your impression of how it's different?
Well, there's black comedy and then there's mainstream comedy.
Sure.
So I think that's everywhere, but it is more prevalent in Atlanta because you're judged by your counterparts based on your skin tone, depending on where you go. So, like for instance, if the success that I have now is because I do a lot of mixed rooms. I had to make myself do more black rooms, not because I was afraid or anything like that, but I needed to hone in on that audience more because some of my topics might not be popular in that community or not something that they're used to hearing in a lot of comedy shows. Okay. Because black comedy is a lot more scripted, than mainstream comedy. And so, whereas we write a punchline, we write a setup punchline, and black comedy a lot of times is just punchlines, or it's just premises that are acted out, and the acting out is the punchline. It's it's not. A lot of the setup is the performance itself. It's a lot more physical.
Yeah. Whenever I do a black audience, I bring energy on purpose. Yes. And I bring shorter, quicker because I feel like
you got to keep them laughing. You can't.
Yeah, they don't have. I mean, I don't really like long jokes ever anymore. I want to have high laughs per minute no matter where. But I want to bring energy, and it's like if it's a stupid joke, a black audience will be like, "Fuck the fuck." Like, yeah. Whereas, other rooms might be a little more patient with a corny joke. But I love black rooms. So
I tell stories. So if you don't have a joke in between that story,
like every sentence,
every couple of words, and you're gonna lose black people in it.
Right.
So so that was something that made me cut out a lot of fat out of my stories. and make things intentional and act out things as well. And so it gave me a recipe for that. But if I were to go to Atlanta, I'd immediately go backwards in the black room, because those comics are very, they relate more to the ghetto. They relate more to certain things. Whereas myself, I would be considered a backpack comic, I guess you could say. It would, the rooms would not receive my material. All rooms wouldn't receive my material the same way. So yeah, I mean, but I understand that. Like, I understand how that works, and I don't think I'd do bad there. It's just that I wouldn't be at a higher level. But if I go into another room, if I went to Limericks or went someplace else, I'd do well in those rooms.
Sure.
So
sure. Yeah, I think it'd help you. I think about Atlanta too. In a year or two potentially. But
Matt's doing well up there, man.
Yeah.
He's definitely, you can definitely see the difference in him, because he was actually a few performances after me on last Monday at Black and Skull.
Yeah,
and he got it in.
His confidence, his stage presence. I mean, I remember his first mic too.
Yeah,
and just night and day. Yeah. And just the sheer quantity of mics you can hit. The differences in rooms. Like they got a lot of black rooms. They got a lot of kind of alt rooms. They got a lot of kind of hipster-ish woke rooms. Like they got everything. So you can hit a ton. But yeah, I know you just got a phone call. So it's 8:15. You got a show coming up.
Yeah, we were good.
Yeah. So yeah, we can do a couple more minutes. But what is your biggest dumpster fire story? I asked that question in general. You told me about maybe one of your biggest bombs already. But do you have a dumpster fire story you can share?
In comedy?
Could be. Or life in general. I got a billion, so.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of dumpsters. I could tell you that I once went to, I was at an open mic, and 2 comics did my jokes. Oh. That I knew. Yeah, that was crazy.
Were they stupid? They did not know that you were there?
Yeah, one knew that I was there.
So he did it on purpose.
I think he did it subconsciously. Like he was trying to use the premise, but he said my joke, and I said the joke so many times. Like, it's the joke where I talk about the crackhead that jumps out in front of the street, and he's like, I was like, I don't have any money. He's like, no, I know you got $1 in your center console, and you got 50 cents in your backseat. Like, I do that so often that was one of my, it's one of my better jokes to a story that I tell.
Sure.
And so he used all the verbiage in my in my set, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
And his friend gets up and does almost the exact same thing. I was like, what the?
How did you handle it? Did you confront him?
I didn't say anything.
You didn't?
I didn't say anything then at that point. I did later on. We were at another show, and somebody said something about stealing jokes, and he was like, man, yeah, that's crazy, man. I was like, you stole my joke.
That was the guy who stole it said something.
Yeah, he said something about somebody else stealing a joke. And I was like, you stole my joke. And he said, when? And I told him when and what he said, and he was like, no, I know you stole a joke.
Dude, isn't that funny in comedy?
Yeah,
that is like the one thing is like the sacred commandment of stand-up. You can talk about anything. Yeah. You could even border on, inappropriate stuff, sexism, race. Like you can make mistakes in that area and be forgiven. But if you steal shit,
premises are not off base. But when
premises can happen.
Yeah, when you use verbiage,
when you use the actual punchline,
he literally used the verbiage out of my joke and was like, and everyone knew, like everybody just looked at me, and I was just sitting there like,
yeah, did
he just do that? And I think we were filming for a podcast. Like we were literally on the same show. Like, and so it was like, and this is funny. So the other comic, he used my joke, and he was new to comedy. He didn't know. Like he actually asked me, could he have the joke after the show? So that was the funny part.
Oh, that's not no, motherfucker.
Yeah, I did say no. I said, nah, you can't have my fucking joke.
Right.
He was like, hey man, I like the way you said the joke. I said, because it's fucking mine.
Yeah.
So when I got
that's the hardest part to figure out how to say it.
Yeah. So when I got on stage, actually, I said my joke. I didn't want to call him out because he was new. The other guy, I was like, "Fuck you!" Like, I don't, whatever. He should know better. He's been doing it for a while. But the newer guy, I knew he didn't know. I knew he didn't know.
Right.
But so when we talked afterwards, I reminded him. I said, "Hey, I saw you in Florence when I did a show with Robert Taylor and Don Gary." He said, "Yeah, man, you were awesome." I was like, "Yeah, you took my joke from there."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, you said it tonight. Like, man, you said that so smooth, man. Like, yeah, I want to get to that point." He was like, "Man, you mind if I use the joke?" I said, "Nah, you can't use my joke. You can't use my joke, dog. Like, that's not gonna happen." He's like, "All right." I said, "Nah." I'm gonna just give you some 10 points of advice. Just never steal somebody's joke.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how hard you are writing your own jokes, don't take somebody else's jokes. That's their their livelihood. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
I said, I understand you're just starting, so I'm not tripping about it.
Yeah.
Say, my bad. I'm so sorry, man. And I could tell that he was contrite in saying that, but I was just like, nah, you can't have my joke, man. Like, no,
dude.
No.
Yeah, I won't say any names, but joke stealing has come up recently here, and I don't know if you heard about it. You did?
Yeah. You know how comics talk. We're like little bitches, man.
I know, man. And I
talks.
hate negativity too when it comes to like,
because it makes you feel uneasy when you see the person, and this is like, how do you respond to them knowing that they're taking somebody else's stuff? And then on top of that, how true it could be or not. But I think in this situation, it was pretty blatant.
100%. And it's strange when you hear the recording of a professional comic from which they took the material,
that's the thing.
And you've heard it so many times, and it was rote, copied, delivery, words, and it's like it hurts in a weird way. It makes you feel real uncomfortable because it's like you feel misled, and the work that every comic is putting in.
Yeah.
And the bombing, the process, and like how that's such a special thing that when somebody, for whatever motives, I mean, it's just it affected me more than I thought, dude.
Yeah,
and a lot of comics. So then we, but it's a hard thing.
Yeah,
because it sucks. I hate the gossip shit too, but
yeah, it's funny though.
Yeah.
I love a good shit show because I stay to myself.
Love the shit show?
Yeah, I stay to myself so much that whenever I hear shit like that, it just cracks me up. But you'll find that, man, it's a lot of people that do it, man, and I get extremely disappointed. I've had my share of people taking my stuff, man. You wouldn't even believe. Like, it's.
Do you think they see it on Facebook or whatever and say, "Oh, I'll just
or just in general conversation and not thinking that I'm using that material?
Yeah,
and or they try to use the premise and remix what I said, but you still coming out with the same result. Like, if you're still coming out with the same punchline, the premise is not.
I almost think the punchline's like the whole joke sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you think of the punchline first almost a lot of times.
You find a place to go and you got to figure out where that is. That's your punchline.
Yeah. Like, I know that's why it's funny, but how do I make it?
Yeah. So the premise is a path. And so I think that's what happened. I mean, I literally had the same joke that the new guy had taken. Another comic had taken that same joke and used it while I was there in my face. And his punchline was different though. Okay. So he took it and kind of spent it. So that was that. I talked to him about it. I inboxed him, and we hashed it out, and we came to a conclusion like, hey, we got similar jokes, but it was like, nah, you just use verbiage that I used that was very specific. Like the joke was I don't trust women. Like, think about it. Like, Mary had to convince, her husband that God was the father of her child.
Yeah.
I was like, if I was Joseph, I would have taken Mary to Maury Povich. And he used that part. If I was God,
he used like, Maury Povich?
He was like, yeah, he used that. And I was like, you can't escape that. Now, if he was using it for his premise, but he made that connection. And I'm like, that connection is a singular thought. That is a unique thought, which is constructs my joke.
Mm-hmm.
The premise would be, I don't trust women. That's not the taking them to Maury is not the premise.
Right.
The premise is I don't trust women.
Yeah.
If you use that's fine. And you use Mary and Joseph and God for that's fine.
Like an illustration
But that specific wording was like,
that's what really pops in your head is the wording. It's like plagiarism.
Yeah, basically. And so he admitted, well, basically what happened was he was just like, don't tell nobody about this. Because what I did was he claimed that he never heard me say it.
Right.
And then I showed him the video. And then I circled the comment that he made under it that said, yo, that was a good joke.
He commented on Facebook, on YouTube, or whatever.
Yeah, he commented on Instagram. Yeah, I was like, right here, buddy. Got you.
That's cool that he apologized.
And we're cool, super cool. And I get it. I mean, he was drunk too, so I think that sometimes you start to you wrote your joke based on what you heard from someone else.
Yeah.
If he did that, and that's what I think happened, and then he just ended up in the moment saying my joke.
Yeah.
And saying that comment and not thinking about, because his punchline was totally different.
Right.
So it went a different direction than mine went. Mine ended up being Maury calls God, Mary and Joseph say, hey, God, you are the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost.
That's really funny.
So that's my punchline.
Like
his punchline was totally different. So,
okay.
But it is what it is. We ended up being cool. Me and the newer comic was cool. Me and the other guys, whatever. Like I expected more from them because they came to our open mic every week, and so for them to do it was just kind of like, I know you're taking my material now and you're going out whenever you get a show and using it because your stuff is not working. That's what I gathered from that. So
man, it's funny, dude. Every aspect of comedy, whether it's just the performing, the social aspect, the community, and the joke stealing. There's never a dull moment, dude.
Yeah, man.
But, dude, we should probably get you out of here because you got to be on stage in 35 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I'm last, so I get a little bit of leeway, but it's not too far. It's easily it's not that bad.
Okay.
So.
But yeah, man, before we sign off here, do you want to shout out all your stuff, your social media?
Yeah, man. You can catch me on at comediantlink.com. You can catch me at Comedian T-Link on all social platforms, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's where I reside. I got, funny videos. I sing a little bit.
Yeah, your TikTok is pretty hilarious.
Yeah,
they got that going.
They keep shutting me down, man.
Yeah, what's the deal? You gotta hit up Shelly Belly and get her to pull some strings or something.
Yeah, I don't know if because she's getting hit too.
She's getting hit too.
Yeah, but they've been
throttled for some reason.
They've been telling me I've been violating community guidelines and stuff.
Why?
For stuff that I've stitched or whatever. That it was just crazy stuff, and I had three TikToks going viral at the same time. Like it was, they were one was in the 40,000s, one was in the 25,000s, one was at 13, and they were upwards going up. And my followers had increased by 2,000. And this was just the other day. And they cut the sound from two of them that were going really popular. And then they gave me a community guidelines for the one that was at 47,000 and climbing.
What were the community guidelines?
I said Negro.
Okay.
I said Negro. I said this Negro, I pointed at a character, fictional character. I said this Negro is the worst. I said this guy is the worst Negro ever invented. He is the worst Negro. He's the worst. That's what I said.
Who cares?
Somebody did, and they said it was hate speech.
Dude.
So I was like, and I got another video, on that saying, if this is hate speech, then America has a problem.
Right.
I said the word Negro. We can't say the word Negro. Then I reiterated what I said on the last video in that video, and that video hadn't been taken down yet. And I was like, so why is the other one taken down if that one's not taken down? So
yeah, dude, I don't get it, man. I wish.
Because it was popular. It was going to hit at the rate that it was going. It was probably going to be well into the hundreds of thousands because it went. I had posted it 6 hours and it was already at 50,000 and counting.
Wow.
So yeah, it was definitely heading and trending in, a positive route, and they just don't want to see certain people.
TikTok's overrated anyway.
Yeah,
you'll grind it out and stand up anyway.
I'm done with it. I thought it would be a good mechanism to get my numbers up, so I can put that with.
They're still kind of fun, but
yeah. And now I'm just like an asshole with it. I'm just throwing it aside, so I'm just like putting everything out, like fuck TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, TikTok is racist.
Has Sauce got any of his stuff taken down?
Yeah, he's been. Yeah.
Sauce just cracked me up, dude. His Moesha, like,
that shit
freaking journal entry where he's talking about
the feet, man. I was like, put those damn feet up, dude. What are you doing? Yeah, his feet are funny.
But anyway, okay. So your TikTok, social media,
everything is comedian T.Link.
Comedian T.Link.
Yeah.
And you got Certified Comics.
Certified Comics. Yeah, we're gonna be in Charlotte.
I think I'm on that show.
Yeah, you're in the one on Charlotte.
Yeah.
On the 12th. No, that's the 17th, I believe.
I think so. December.
Yeah. No,
or
it's November.
It's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up. So we got the 12th, in Rock Hill at 742 North, and then we have the 17th at World of Bear, and then we have the 20th at Penthouse, and then we have the 21st at Fox's Lair in Augusta. Okay. And I think me and Mike have a few shows in between then, and then we take a little break, and then we'll hit a couple of other spots. Soul Bar, I think, in Augusta in December. We got Savannah Break at the 28th. That's in Sumter. Mm-hmm. And next year we start a whole new round of some other places. So
hell yeah, just
trying to get some traveling in and get our faces known and get ourselves out there.
Well, good stuff, man. Yeah, definitely. Anybody who's watching, check out T.Link anytime. And you put all your stuff on Instagram and stuff where you're at.
Yeah.
So in the event because this may not air right in time for the first round of shows we just talked about, but you know.
But yeah, I'll be all over. That's the plan.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Hell yeah, man. Well, crush it tonight. Yeah, thanks for driving up and doing this.
No problem.
I'm glad I finally got you.
I'm glad I'm here, man. I was like, this is what I need in my career. I need to be with Dave, man.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm glad you were willing to do it, bro. And we'll definitely have you on again.
Cool.
And yeah, man, go get him tonight. Excited. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
All right.